What is good, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the one and only NIO stock and what you should be looking after for the future. I'm also going to break down what's going on with the overall market, how this may affect NIO based off the news data and technicals, and what I do predict to happen to NIO's share price for tomorrow. Now, before I break anything down about this though, before I get into any more details, I do have to mention a couple of things before starting. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Make sure you take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire NIO community as a whole. And the last thing is, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link down below in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed 7 free stocks, and 5 out of those 7 free stocks could be a free AMC share. It's a limited time offer, guys. The offer ends in just 8 days. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. So anyways, NIO is up about 1.38% for the day at the time I'm recording this, and overall we are starting to see signs of the market slipping. In my previous video, I mentioned to you guys that the market would most likely see a bit of a pop into open, a gap up and a push up. I didn't expect SPY to actually push up as hard as it did in the morning. SPY went all the way up to about 399, but once it was actually up here, this was clear that it was actually a bull trap, and we would see a big sell-off later on. So a lot of the bulls ended up getting tricked, and we did see the market just end up continuing to sell off. And as the market continued to drop, we had this gap down here. We ended up filling the gap, and SPY continued to drop over and over again. But now we're starting to see lots of bulls step in and try to defend 390. In my opinion, they're not necessarily in the best of places to do that, because very soon I believe the bears are going to take advantage of this, and they're going to continue to drag the market down. Now for tomorrow, I think if the market does end up closing red, we could see an opposite reaction where the market tries to gap up again and push up a little bit more. I do think this could end up happening. We could try to get to the mid 390s, but then we're most likely going to get another rejection, then continue selling off. We're most likely going to see a retest of 390. And if that fails on SPY, this thing is most likely going to come all the way down to 388.56. If that fails, then 385 is going to be very important, or the range around there. All right, so please be very, very cautious. I do think the odds favor downside for tomorrow, and that's despite the fact that we actually have a 395 max pain with a 2.02 put to call ratio. I'm still saying this because of the fact that the bears are very strong, and it looks to me like the VIX wants to continue going too. The VIX is likely going to continue to get dragged up thanks to the fact that it's still quite undervalued. You could see that there were instances where the VIX started breaking out. It just kept going to try to get back to 30. I think the VIX is easily going to try to get back to 30 over the next couple of days. And I really believe that this will likely happen because of the market dragging down. Now, why is NIO green, at least as of right now? And that's because of the fact that NIO is holding up thanks to good news. The good news that came out is the fact that NIO is still confident that it's going to basically double its sales for 2023. They're giving lots of hope for investors that they're going to continue to see exceptional growth and a very big continuation of their growth and their them spreading their brand, their awareness, and their innovation. Now, in my opinion, this is technically bullish news. We are starting to see them give us more advanced third-generational battery swap stations much earlier than expected, and I do believe this is very, very awesome. However, right now, for the markets, fundamentals are not necessarily dragging the market, and I do believe if the market continues to sell off, this will still drag NIO down, unfortunately. I also want to note that about next week, near the very end of next week, or I would say like a little bit after, by the time April starts, NIO will give us their delivery report for March. I'm sure it should be a good report, and also their Q1 report will be coming out very soon as well. Now, NIO also has low volume. We're not pumping on high volume right now. We may have seen some short covering that played a role in this, but we're not getting the same volume that's necessary to push the share price up like crazy. When we see low volume periods like this often tells us that the share price is tightening, and we're likely going to make a big move later on. On top of that, this also tends to favor downside more often than not. Not always, but typically. And that's despite the fact that yesterday NIO did see a big decrease in the short volume. But I do believe when it comes to these extreme lows, we get bounces from here. If this does bounce up, we're going to see more selling pressure very soon, possibly tomorrow. The price pairs ratio, and this is actually how NIO performs relative to the market, is starting to bounce right here, which means NIO is slowly outperforming the market after hitting an extreme low. I believe NIO is going to try to like hold up these levels. The really important supports around $8. So I think that's where NIO's main base is going to be. But I do think NIO is going to end up retesting that very soon if the market continues to sell off, and I believe it most likely will. Barclays is giving NIO an equal weight rating, which means that they believe NIO is going to be performing very similar to that of the market. JP Morgan is pretty neutral on NIO. And finally, Mizuho, or another analyst known as Mizuho, they're saying buy into NIO. So once again, some good stuff actually is coming out. NIO needs some good earnings though if they want to continue to see improved growth. When it comes to NIO's price action, NIO tends to be green about 53% of the time on Fridays. We tend to actually see more volatility by the fourth hour of the day. And also, as far as the shorting goes, there has been an increase in shorting over the last couple of days. Especially just 2 days ago, we saw NIO seeing almost 7 million shares shorted. It went down to about 5 million. So once again, that did play a role in why NIO was pushing up. But once again, if more shorts pile in, it's going to likely try to drag NIO down. So what am I seeing for tomorrow? If the market does end up closing green today and it tries to push up like this, I wouldn't be surprised if the market once again tries to hold levels like this tomorrow. But we may get an end of the day sell off tomorrow if we do end up closing somewhere in the green. So far, the market's holding up, but I'm still going to be very cautious regardless. I believe the bears are hungry. They're getting ready to drag the market down. And could be forming a giant head and shoulders. We haven't necessarily invalidated this because our next push up from today did not actually exceed the high we made yesterday. What this tells me is this is a bearish structure, and as long as NIO remains in this zone, there's a lot of potential for it to come all the way down to refill this gap at 8.76, and I do believe the odds favor that. Now, if NIO holds these levels and manages to break 9.52, if we could break 9.5, we're most likely going to see NIO fly to 9.7, then almost $10. But we have to break 9.52 if we want to get there and invalidate this head and shoulders formation. Now, the odds don't really favor that because the market right now is just trying to hold up. And I believe that the odds are favoring a bit of a sell-off instead, and NIO actually failing to break this level, form the head and shoulders, and continue to break down. If you're bearish on NIO, you're going to be watching this thing actually come all the way down to about 9 flat. And if $9 fails, it's most likely going to fill the gap and come all the way down to 8.7 or within that range. I wanted to just put that out there for everyone. So please remain calm, cool, and collected. Do what you have to do. And I'll most definitely see you guys in the next video. NIO to the moon, because the long-term future is still incredibly bright. And peace out.